Make sure you're subscribed to JerCrispy.
Gotta clear my throat. Y'all come on in. Come on in. Gather up, sit down on your seats. Make sure you have some nice, good, snack, bab. Tell a friend, a family member. Even tell your grandma that be selling them Dixie cups. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this started. What's up, y'all? It shows the most, does the most. JerCrispy, welcome back to another video. The new gen animation. Hello, the new gen anime problem. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media. It's gonna pop on the screen. What y'all feel about the new gen animation problems? Y'all feel like they be picking like old anime versus new anime is different and stuff like that? Like they rather prefer new anime than the old anime? I don't know. Let's get it.
Over the past couple of years, we've seen several anime that released in the 2010s finish. Ranging from My Hero Academia to Demon Slayer, it feels like the new gen era has seemingly ended. And so that leaves us to ask, why is that?
Demon Slayer done? Ain't no way Demon Slayer that done. I ain't even watched the third season.
The case. Well, in this video, I intend on delving into that topic, so strap in because I'm about to get real in depth in this video. Before I do jump into the video, if you guys do enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. And to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys should be loving the support, and I give it back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's anime.
Yep, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe for me too, man. We're on the road to 500. So yeah.
Comics, or just fiction in general. In due time, I'm covering it. So be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough. So I'll jump straight into the video and find out if new gen anime has a pacing issue. Now, the three animes that I'm going to be focusing on for the most part will be Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and My Hero Academia. Now, the reason I'm focusing on these three is because they all share one thing in common, and that is their pacing and how it feels like their story could have gone on for a little bit longer, but the mangaka just decided to speed it up and end it there. Now, out of the three of them, I'd definitely say that My Hero is the more fleshed out one, so there could be an argument that it's fine it ended where it is. And that's obviously because of how many chapters it has. I mean, you can have like literally nearly 200 more chapters than the other two, and you're gonna obviously flesh out your story a little bit more. Now, what the problem is, and what people have been saying recently, is that they are too fast. Now, this affects the story on many different levels. For Demon Slayer, it felt like the final arc was around where it should have been, but you could have extended it a little longer and thrown in a few more things to then spice it up, but Koyohara wanted to end it where it did. Now, do I think the ending of Demon Slayer is bad? No. And spoiler alert, I don't think necessarily that the endings for any of these three anime are bad. See, a lot of people like to throw around.
Wait, you about to show the ending part, dude? I don't know, bro. I'm probably gonna forget about it anyways. Just go ahead.
Bad, and I'm also going to get to Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero individually, but everybody likes to throw around that they're bad. I feel like it's just the fact that people want it to be fleshed out a little bit more. That's about it. And I'm now going to explain it with Jujutsu Kaisen. You see, Gege, when he announced that the last 5 chapters of the manga were coming out, it took everybody by surprise. And we did know that Shinjuku could have been one of the last arcs inside of JJK, but we didn't want to believe it. But it then became a reality.
Hello, yo, and we watched this though? Like, low-key, somebody explained this? I think that was CJ the Champ that had explained this.
So with it becoming a reality, we then had to take the story as it was. Could he wrap up so many different things? And you can say that he didn't, but that's just how it is. And with what we got, the story was great, but we can all say that at times the story did feel like it was fast paced and he didn't really want to beat around the bush when it came down to certain things. He would either just straight up say it, allude to it, or he would just leave it out as he didn't have enough time. Like, there are certain mysteries about the characters after the series, or what we wanted to see if the series continued, that never got answered. Hikari is a popular one, but that right there is just him wanting to end the manga and then go on to his next project, and that is what you're most likely going to see from a lot of these new gen creators. You see, for a lot of us, we are used to the old gen. We're used to One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, where they go on for so long.
Yeah, bro, I ain't lying to you. One Piece, bro, they go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, like episodes and episodes and episodes and episodes and episodes. I don't even remember what episode I was on, bro. It was so long, bro. Like, I don't know who be writing these scripts, bro, but golly, hey, clap up to them, bro. Real talk, bro. Golly, bro. Y'all made One Piece so long, bro. I don't even want to. Y'all got me about to just start over all over again at this point. Real talk.
To the point where it feels like they're never going to end until they actually do end. And at that point, you can't complain because they've gone on for 700 to even 1,000+ chapters. It feels like the story is always going to be there and it doesn't slow down. Now, this could go into pacing talks, but I'm going to get into that in a second. Now, for My Hero is the longest one out of the three, and you can definitely say it's the most fleshed out amongst the three. But what my issue is here, and it's going to be an issue for Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer as well, is the fact that it feels and felt like the characters were a little bit too early or just weren't matured enough for that endpoint. And I wanted to have the endpoint be a more matured version of the characters. But then again, it also then ties back into their writing and how that was technically what the whole entire series was about. Now, there could be several arguments that My Hero in certain places feels like it was rushed. You could say that the final war could have been a tiny bit longer to flesh out a few characters, and Horikoshi could have gone into his bag a little deeper with some of these characters. And I know, and we all know he could have, but he decided to end the series where he did. As a fan and somebody that's read the story multiple times and understands the story, I can sit here and say that he did cook, but we all know that he could have cooked a little bit more, and that's the feeling that we get with all three of these mangakas. Koyohara could have cooked more, Gege could have cooked more, and Horikoshi definitely could have cooked more. But this is where we have to get into pacing, and I feel like pacing is a massive double-edged sword. You have an anime.
I mean, it's season this half, as we speak, and last time I watched this was like, I think season 1 or something like that. I might need to go back and watch the anime again, bro. Like, low key.
Manga like One Piece, where the pacing can feel slow at times. I know a lot of people, when they're reading a One Piece chapter, feels like the pacing was slow, while you have people that read JJK and feel like the pacing was a little too fast. Like same with Demon Slayer, and you could say the exact same thing about My Hero, but I feel like My Hero's got it balanced a little bit more. The issue with this is the fact that when your story goes a little bit too fast, you miss certain points that fans want explained. It feels like you're just rushing to the end point and you don't want to properly flesh out your story, and that will come back to bite you later, and a lot of mangakas do suffer that sometimes. Now, as I said before, there is the opposite end. You have an anime like One Piece where it feels a little bit slow at certain points at least. And I feel like this is a problem that new gen anime sort of has, and it's them going a little bit too quick. See, with new gen anime, when they get off and start running to that finish line, it feels like they are missing certain points. And I feel like we all notice it a lot more nowadays because of stories like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, where they took the time to go back and tie things in, slowing down the pace just a little bit. Just so
they did try to slow down the pace in Naruto, but it's like, bro, like the pace of Naruto, it's like you could go back and try to fix some things for Naruto. It's that easy. But when you're trying to do that with other shows and stuff like that, it's like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in 10 minutes. it's like you gotta hurry to have something up. Like you gotta have something like a good like backflash, a good backstory to all of it. That's how I feel like they when I was looking at it.
See everything and get the whole entire picture before moving forward. And for a story like One Piece, filling in the picture as we go along, meaning that we will stop and start, but in the end we appreciate it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the pacing inside of Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and My Hero are bad. I don't think so. And in no way, shape or form is this video to be here to complain about the pacing in either of them. It's just to bring up the problem of them being a little bit too fast paced.
Wow.
And the next point I'm going to bring up is going to really unveil it. But then again, it also then ties back into their storytelling, and then ultimately ties back into their pacing and what the author is trying to create with their story. You see, in all three of these anime / manga, there is an issue of the main character and the side characters alongside them feeling like they were rushed to the end point. Now, in all three stories, it's made apparent that with the appearance of the main character, it does speed up the story no matter how you slice it. It's kind of like the Avengers inside the movies, and just, well, in comics in general, but in the movies more so because they make it an actual point, and obviously everybody knows that. So when the Avengers appear, the amount of global threats shot up, and that is what happens with all three of these main characters. When Tanjiro, when Yuji, when Izuku Midoriya showed up, they all raised what was going to happen in their stories because of their existence, because they are tied to somebody extremely important to the point where it's forced. And so it then leads them to feeling not matured enough for that final stand at the end of their story. See, with the three of these anime, I see a common complaint amongst all three, and I don't think people actually recognize that they complain about the exact same thing. But I've heard the to the start to about the midpoint in the story, it was peak on perfect, but then it just fell off because it was too fast.
Like basically you trying to say like it need more peak into it than less falling off. It need to have like keep getting the more peak into it and stuff like that. And how the way like people were saying, like it's like I don't know, saying like My Hero Academia, it was like fighting at one point, and then it's like it just started fighting from all random. So I feel like if they kept doing all that fighting and all that other stuff, and people actually got some good powers in that mug, then I feel like My Hero Academia would have got like another season on the road. But it depends how they want to write their anime. So I mean,
that is a thing that the author the whole entire time was trying to construct with the story. All three of them have that exact same thing. Demon Slayer, it starts off steadily. Obviously, the competition is a little steep, but it starts off steadily and goes up and up and up until you then just automatically reach the final boss and jump like 10 levels. Exact same thing with Jujutsu Kaisen. Yes, the competition was steep, but at the exact same time, you could feel it steadily growing up and up and up. And even in the Culling games, it felt like kind of a landslide for Yuji. Like he was fighting Higuruma. I mean, it was an okay fight and he was in danger a little bit, but when he actually got to boxing, it wasn't really that much of an issue. But that was until by the end of the Culling games, where Sukuna appeared, it felt like a boss battle had just started when you are like level 30 and you're meant to be level 90 for that boss fight. That is what happens in these stories. Now, My Hero had a more gradual one, as Deku could always go 100%, but he would always break his body. So what it felt like for him was that he just needed to get his body right for the time, and he got his body right as much as he could. That's the thing with Yuji, that's the thing with Tanjiro. And the thing is that all three of them had special abilities to then counter the main boss. But the way they all ended and how they basically had to jump many levels to even get to that point, it feels like they could have been extended a little bit longer to then make that final fight even more epic and even more like, okay, they deserve this. And in my opinion, I do believe that they do deserve their wins to a certain degree. You could say that Yuji's one was a little bit messy and you don't like his one, I get it. Tanjiro's one was a little bit messy, but I mean, that boy fought tooth and nail for his win. And Deku, he literally thought tooth and nail. He lost his arms for that W. They all fought hard for their W's, but it feels like you just throw them into the deep end and they're just forced to survive. And I can see why people aren't too happy about that. They want to see them fleshed out. They want to see them.
So you want, oh, wait a minute. So they want the niggas to die? Then what was the point of making the anime then if you want the main character to die? I don't get people. How you watch anime like that? You want to see the main character die? This ain't no Dragon Ball Z. He just come back alive and let's go get 7 Dragon Balls and get Shinra and then you know, it ain't like that, bro.
Go through like a Luffy, Naruto, or even Ichigo vibe. But then again, at the exact same time, Ichigo was somebody that wasn't really prepared for that final battle, but was still there. And of course, Ichigo did train, but his training wasn't to the point of where he needed to be for Yhwach. And it feels very reminiscent to Yuji going to go and fight Sukuna, but I'd say on a lesser scale, as Yuji versus Sukuna wasn't going to be comparable unless Yuji in that month's time span went generational tears inside of strength. And the only real one that feels a little bit different is Naruto, as Naruto was more given power-ups instead of him having to fight tooth and nail. I mean, he was fighting tooth and nail, do not get me wrong.
I'm about to say, ain't Naruto was fighting like a lot of dudes to get all his stuff, or are you trying to say that Naruto got his power handed? I would say Naruto got his power handed. I feel like he earned every power he got. He lost freaking Sensei. He lost a freaking. He lost Killer Bee, and like, bro, he lost a lot of things.
Given power-ups and then had to then use those power-ups to then be strong. And his final battle was with Sasuke. You could say that with Kaguya, he was a little bit underpowered, but against Sasuke, he was stronger than Sasuke. So the win in his favor was always going to happen. Now, one thing that a lot of people do miss is that a lot of these animes and mangas, in their final battle, they're not actually as strong as their opponent. But the difference is, and a lot of people do miss this as well, is that they are around their tier of strength. So it's easier for you to comprehend and know that, yeah, they can grow to their level and they can beat them. While with, I'd say Jujutsu Kaisen out of the 3 of them the most, Yuji doing this, it felt rewarding, but it could have been better. Because a lot of people, and myself included, wanted Yuji to be cemented as the strongest by the end of the series. To make Jujutsu Kaisen perfect, Yuji didn't really need to be cemented as the strongest inside the series. He just needed to beat Sukuna. And then this falls back on writing, as a lot of these final fights that these guys go through, the writing is great. Sometimes it can be messed up by something in between. I mean, I'd say all 3 of them do have something that can throw a wrench in the works, but for the most part, the final fights are pretty good and they know what they're doing. And so this begs me to ask the question on whether new gen anime has a pacing issue. And in my opinion, I think that they could be a little bit slower paced. Like, you can tone down the speed of which you are reaching the end goal, but I actually do enjoy the awkward situations and positions they are thrown into. It makes it compelling and keeps you on edge because you don't know what's going to happen. In some of these stories, the villains do actually win, and that is what keeps you on your toes and keeps you on edge. And that is why I actually kind of do prefer when they're sped up to that point. Now, would I say to a ridiculous degree of where Yuji was, where he was like leagues below Sukuna? I wouldn't say so, but obviously in Jujutsu Kaisen they had a way to fix that. They had everybody jump Sukuna, as you should. Everybody's jumping the threat. It's that same thing with Demon Slayer. Everybody jumps Muzan. And the way My Hero was able to let Deku fight Shigaraki by himself was because Deku was just naturally stronger than those 2 were. Deku and Shigaraki were more comparable compared to Itadori and Sukuna and Muzan and Tanjiro. That is why I feel like putting them into these awkward situations and having the entire cast jump a villain, I think if done right, can be great. And that's another thing that a lot of people do need to understand with these stories. The execution needs to be perfect. the idea can be anything. You could not like an idea, but the execution has to be great to perfect. And that's always been my philosophy when it comes down to writing. And I feel like a lot of people do miss that. I do understand you not liking the idea, but if the execution is objectively great, then you...
Alright, just to sum it up, bro, because I know y'all probably... The problem that he's saying is that, like, it need to have more impact of more into the show and in the manga. Don't, like, rush things out and, like, just keep it in a good pace that y'all could keep it in y'all pace, but don't try to force stuff out and stuff like that. If y'all know what I'm trying to say. But hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow on social media. See y'all love y'all to the bottom of my heart. We're on the road to 5.